about, I am telling you very honestly that if the same issue is asked there in essay, okay, the same issue is asked there in essay, because all over the worlds are in conflict on this issue only. The worlds are in conflict today on this issue only. So you can quote ample of examples on this particular issue. Fine. So there you have that scope. Here you have to restrain yourself in the context of the syllabus, in the context of the issue that has been asked in that particular syllabus. Fine. Your idea is equally acceptable. That is not altogether wrong idea, but it is not acceptable here in this particular answer. Fine. That is the issue.
And the political bond should be here state,
not
regional council or district council, something, not this.
That also can be explained in the context of the Indian, let's say, territory. Why not? You can also explain that. Fine. Yeah, coming to the next question, discuss the steps taken by the government of India to check child labor and promote child welfare. Now, this is again a very factual question, but again, in what manner all of you are supposed to answer it, that is important. Look, first of all, you read the question. This question is saying that you have to mention the steps taken by the government. Now, what could be the possible steps that can be taken by the government of India? That is most important for all of you to think in that orientation, in that direction only. Look, the government of India or any other government can take steps in these aspects only. First, they can take steps in the context of administrative measures. All right. So the first aspect would be the administrative measures of the government of India. So in administrative measures, you have to explain that from when the Ministry of Women and Child Development has been created. All right. So in 2006, this Ministry of Women and Child Welfare, it was carved out from the Ministry of Human Resource Development, HRD. All right. Earlier it was only a department, but it was given a shape of ministry, a complete ministry in 2006 only. That was the first and the foremost step of the government of India in terms of administrative measure. Apart from that, the government of India has also constituted a commission to look after the child welfare in the country. And that commission has to give a report to the government of India in terms of that how effectively and efficiently the child welfare schemes have been implemented in the country, not only by the union government but also by the state governments. Even the state governments have been directed to constitute child welfare committees in their labor department. All right. So the idea is there are many administrative measures, that is what you are supposed to first quote. Then after that, the legislative measures. After that, the legislative measures of the government of India. So these legislative measures have been taken on the basis of the constitutional provisions of the Indian Constitution. All right. So you have to quote those provisions of the Indian Constitution, at least the Article 23, 24, Article 45. These are three important articles. There are many articles that can be quoted here. All right. They all can be substantiated in the context of this question. But if you want to be very specific, so at least quote Article 24 and at least 45 and 21A. Fine. So in this way, the constitutional provisions are there. On that basis only, the government of India has enacted many laws to protect and to promote the interest of children in our country. Fine. So those laws needs to be quoted. So those laws are mentioned in your script, in your answer script. You can have a look on that. You can understand what laws you are supposed to write it down here. Now that is the legislative steps of the government of India. Now the most important step that most of us we forget, and that is very crucial to the problem of child labor, and that is rehabilitative steps of the government of India. Because child labor cannot be stopped till the time you do not have proper rehabilitative measures in your country. You have glaring examples from rest of the world, from India also, that you may have an efficient law, you may have, let's say, an efficient system of implementing the law, but the laws can only break the child labor for for a specific time period. If you want to simply address this problem from the root, you have to understand the cause of this problem. And that way, the government steps towards rehabilitation is very, very crucial. Alright, then only the child labor problems can be eliminated completely. So in rehabilitative steps, what exactly you are supposed to write? So in rehabilitative steps, you are supposed to quote here the schemes and the programs. The schemes and the programs that have been launched by the government for the welfare of the child or the children in this country. Fine. That will include not only the schemes, let's say like midday meal scheme, not only the schemes like let's say Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan scheme, because these all are the important schemes for the welfare of children, but also the schemes for adoption in our country, also for financial assistance scheme, maybe in the form of Dhan Lakshmi Yojana, Ladli Yojana. Now these are examples to quote here. These are examples to quote here that how financial assistance schemes have also been launched by either by the central government or by the state governments in our country. Fine. So rehabilitative measures are also important steps of the government of India. Fine. So I've given you the idea that how to think in terms of the steps taken by the government. The second part is simply to promote child welfare. Now to promote child welfare, you have to simply understand that how the government is promoting the child welfare. Again, the government is promoting the child welfare through various institutions. So the government has created various institutions, various schemes, programs, and of course the policy is specific to the child welfare. Fine. So institutions, schemes, programs, and the policies needed to be quoted here. Fine. Not only the name, but also with some name, you have to explain in one sentence that what is this policy all about? What is this scheme all about? What is this program all about? Because some of you, what you have done, you have simply listed down all those schemes and all those programs specific to the child welfare. Again, you need to at least explain in one sentence that what exactly those schemes are all about. Fine. So in this order only, you are supposed to explain this particular question. Even if you want to quote some international cooperation on that, there also you are welcome to quote that. Because international cooperation on child labor elimination is also very, very important. Whether it is the ILO convention or the UN convention, or even to the extent of the India-US partnership. India-US partnership to eliminate the child labor in our country. Fine. So Indus scheme, probably most of you must be knowing about Indus scheme. So India-US cooperation has been there on the elimination of child labor. So international cooperations are also there. Fine. So in this way, you have to simply explain this particular question.
Age group would be 6 to 14.
Pardon?
Age group of child is 6 to 14.
Age group of child, look, under the new policy, it has been defined very clearly. National Policy for Children 2013. All right. There has been conflicts and confusions on the age group of child in our country. Some department or ministries used to define it to 14 years. Some department or ministry used to define it 15 years, 16 years, like this way. But it has been now subsided, completely settled down, that a child below 18 years of age will come under the definition of children. All right, a person below the 18 years of age will come under the definition of children. That is the National Policy for Children 2013. Huh.
Sublime Saksham, these schemes will also.
Of course, why not? You can quote all those schemes.